Hey everyone, welcome to Anthony's Hobby Corner. It's Anthony here. As you've probably noticed, most of my previous videos have been on how-to videos for model trains. And that's because I have been working on my layout, and as I go through that journey, I figured I would share with you any techniques that I've used in that process. But I think it's also time to give you an update on my layout, and also perhaps run some trains. So let's do that. Okay, so at the top of the layout here, which I will refer to as the north end, we have a rural station with which I've got some videos on, where I have shown how I built the fence and the lighting and the bridge, etc. And way at the back there, you'll see a mountain that has some very small trees on it. I'm trying to create the illusion of depth and a mountain that's far away. Okay, and over in the center here, at least closer to the top, you'll see an extension of the mountain with a mini lake, which then feeds into a waterfall, and which then runs behind the housing but between the tracks and terminates over there. And so on this part of the mountain, as you would notice, I'd worked on the ground cover. I had a video on that, and here's the completed ground cover. And also probably see a familiar sight here of the weeping willow tree that I worked on as well, that I shared with you. I think that turned out to be pretty good. And you'll see the lake is a little bit murky. That's because I have put some realistic water on there, and it's still not completely dry yet. So once it dries up, it'll clear up some more. And so this waterfall, I've called it Oasis Falls, and that leads into this section over here, which is the which I'm referring to as a conservation park. And there is a KFC in there and a concession stand, etc., which then feeds into the waterfall. And as you can see, I probably have a sign here as well that says Oasis Falls Conservation Park. And that leads into the next section, which is a residential section here. And some of you who have perhaps come and visited my channel, you'll probably notice the car, the housing, and the railing here, and that was all in the banner of my channel. So that's the same picture that you'd see in my channel. And further down, that leads into perhaps the downtown section of the layout. And you can see the traffic lights in here as well. It's still not complete yet. I gotta put a lot more accessories in there. And over here, you'll see the main station and some of the curved platforms. And at the back, you'd see the water tower for your steam locomotives and the water tower for the town, and a little mountain back there as well. And over here, you'd see a little quaint church for the city. And beside the church are a couple of stores. And But here's a mini restaurant. And at the back, you have the three circuits, the three tracks. You have a signal control tower back there as well. And the furthermost track actually goes behind into a tunnel. And this ground covering all here was the same technique that I used with the polyester fiber. Okay, and at the front, you can see it's still a lot more work to be done. Nothing's complete here still. So I decided to work on the back of the layout first. This way, as I reach the back, I wouldn't be damaging anything in the front, and I figured I'll work my way towards the front. So all I have left is just the sections in the front here. And I finished up the ballasting here as well. And we have another control tower here at the front. And we have to finish up this area here as well. And all the switches and track are Pico, and the switch motors are Tortoise motors mounted underneath the layout. I found them to be those Tortoise stall motors. And one thing unique that I did with the layout here was that you notice that the baseboard is right there. This is the base of the layout. However, you can see that I've put 2 layers of foam above that's really 2 inches high, and then started the base of the layout 2 inches above the bottom. The reason why is because I wanted to find a way to accomplish a 4-inch height on the other end of the layout, a 4-inch gap, so that I can send one track above and one track below, and I have a 4-inch gap between these 2 tracks. And one way to achieve that is to start your layout at the center height of the 4 inches, which is 2 inches above the base. And in doing so, each track only travels 2 inches lower the base and 2 inches above the base. And so your gradient is only 2 inches in each direction. Your rise is only 2 inches in each direction. This permits you to attain a decent gradient in a very short length of track. And as a result, I have all my switches on one side of the layout, and this permits me to have that gradient that I need on the other side. I have wired the layout to run both DC and DCC on any one of those 3 circuits, and in any combination. And as you can see here, here's my switching for them. So I have 1 circuit here, a 2nd circuit here, and track, and the 3rd track circuit here. And I can switch between DC or DCC for each track independently and run them in any combination. If you're interested in finding out how to wire it in such a way, you can always reach me and I'll share that with you. On the control side, I'm running an NCE DCC system along with my own custom DC controller. It's a pulse width modulated controller. You can buy them on eBay and stuff. It's just the control module. I put it in my own case. I also merged the DC controller along with the DCC panel together in one box here, so that I just have a very slim unit. I'm also controlling my switches with JMRI. I also set up routes that I can just easily select without having to think about which switch to turn on and turn off. Okay, so now that you got a quick tour of the layout, so let's run some trains. I typically run both North American and European locomotives and rolling stock. And so what I've got here really is a combination of the two. Right in front of me here, you've got two steam locomotives. They are both Fleischmann. The leading locomotive here is a Class 53060 German locomotive. And right behind it is a 262 Class 64 steam locomotive, also by Fleischmann. And they are consisted with period correct coaches, passenger coaches from Fleischmann as well. And right next to it in the inner circuit, there is a bunch of Fleischmann freight cars. And they have been connected to or consisted with a Kato RS3. This is a Kato locomotive. So let's just watch them run. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video and watched some trains run on my layout. It's still not complete yet. We got a lot more work to do, but I figured I'd share with you some of the progress and the enjoyment of running some trains. Thanks for watching.